That's what I wanted. All right. Let's see who shows up here. Let's see who shows up here. I wanted to go over a few topics. Uh, let's see. Got an email today from a gentleman. Just wanted to read it to you guys. Um, I wanted to reach out and thank you for your work in studying the swing, and I'm not going to read certain parts because um, I don't want to reveal any personal information. I've watched hours and hours of your YouTube content, and I learned something new every time. For instance, I thought to myself, after this spring season, I'll work with my 13-year-old, a right-hander, on swinging from the left side, starting with the lead arm progression. Then I heard you say, just swing it from the other side anyway, because it might help you better understand the feel. It makes complete sense now. Um, and then I watched a lesson look in by Josh Cathcart on YouTube. He was working with a kid on the lead arm, specifically pointing to the compression and using the body to swing it. I don't know if that was that video or another, but he mentioned you. So I appreciate that about Josh. He does give credit, and that's awesome. Um, it's okay that other people don't, but it's only going to come back and hurt them. Um, so then I'm Googling, and I had actually recognized your content as something I had come across years ago, but only in passing. I didn't know what I didn't know. My kid has a lot more work to do, but it is already making a huge difference. It's interesting to see the videos of him when he actually gets it and that bat flattens and the hands stay behind and then he finishes wide. But the other times that push and back arm take over, it's going to take some time, I know. I would love to see the revolution around this you reference. I'm also a coach on on our son's travel team, and now the only hitting drill I focus on with them is the one-handed lead arm swing, focusing on using the body, and I see it working slowly but surely. I wish I'd found your content earlier. I would have started my 13-year-old on this immediately, and my son, a high school junior, might actually have learned how to hit. He's a PO now, only pitcher only. Please don't stop putting this out there. My hope is that someone doesn't latch onto this, steal it, market it, and make a ton of money by bastardizing it with a bunch of conventional stuff on top of it. Too late. That's already happened. Because you deserve the credit. Well, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, after basically 3 decades of work, the credit is definitely something that I want, but it's just part of the game that guys are gonna take it and not mention me. You mentioned Josh Cathcart. He's pretty much the only one that I've seen with my own eyes actually credit me. Um, and that's great. But the thing is anyone who's stealing and doesn't give credit, they're not really a competitor worth worrying about. They're never going to be able to catch up to me being the person that actually found this stuff. It's just I'm not worried about them too much. I used to kind of stress about it a little bit, but that's mainly because I didn't have an audience. Now that I have an audience and you guys I'm helping people, then I don't feel as much need to worry about people that don't mention me. Um, I want to talk about what he said about switching to the other side. This is something that I feel is extremely important. Um, Switching to the other side is kind of a magical thing. Um, for one, we have to spend time swinging from the quote unquote weak side because it's just really unhealthy to continue swinging from just one side your entire life. Uh, but what it does is it immediately puts your non-dominant arm in back. And for 95% of you, that's going to be the first time that you feel what a great swing feels like. For 95% of you, it's going to be the first time you feel what a great swing feels like. That's that's pretty powerful. Because I think a stress for all the hitters out there is, what does a great swing feel like? And of course, they go to hitting coach after hitting coach trying to find that answer. Well, just by switching to your non-dominant side, you can immediately feel what a great swing feels like. That's that's pretty magical. I never thought that my 3 decades of studying the swing would lead to this as being the answer. It's kinda crazy, but, here we are. And I always knew it was gonna be a simple answer because when you look at the best swings, they're not taping it all together with multiple swing thoughts. But yet that was the method wherever I went for lessons or anything. You know, if I read any books or whatever, it was basically shoving positions. They wanted you to have a swing thought for this moment in the swing, a swing thought for this moment in the swing, a swing thought for this moment in the swing, and maybe that, for that kind of approach for maybe up to 5 different moments in the swing, honestly. And it just didn't seem right. Like Ken Griffey Jr. Is not holding his swing together with swing thoughts and shoving positions. So I knew it would be simple, but I never guessed it would have been about literally switch to your non-dominant side. But I should have known. I really should have known because when I played tennis as a kid, and there was probably only one summer maybe where I just got really into it. I don't know. It might have been 2 or 3. But I thought it was weird how consistent my backhand was, and I always use 2 hands for a backhand. And it wasn't powerful, and it felt kind of robotic, but it was always so consistently straight. But it never really occurred to me what was going on. Um, there is something to the sports environment that we're in today and using your non-dominant hand as an advantage. I There's something about your dominant hand that wants to get overly involved, and it leads to, let me just say this, our sports environment is one in which you have to provide power, but it's consistency that's really the struggle. Of course, power is important, um, But power isn't the really hard thing to attain. It's not the rare thing to attain so much. You can pretty much get that just through repetition. The thing that the swing requires that's different than, say, at the carnival where you just swing that thing and uh, you know, that's all power. That thing just shoots up. I don't know what it's called, but you hit the thing and that would be all power. The thing isn't moving. You don't have to hit it a certain way or in a certain area like you do for golf or baseball. But the real difficulty in golf and baseball and any racket or stick sport like that is the consistency. The sports that we have today are a test of your consistency. If they weren't so much, then baseball would be played hitting off a tee, and golf would be played with no penalties if you hit it sideways. That kind of thing. Then it's just I can't even really imagine a golf game like that. But let's just say somehow spraying the ball wasn't such a penalty and it was really just about how far you hit it. And then I don't know if the swing that works in those sports would be the same. Because what the great swing in baseball and golf are giving you that's really of value is the ability to basically adjust so that you're not flipping the club head or the bat over through contact too much. So there's kind of a flat, if you're looking at it from a bird's eye view at the club face or the bat, it's not turning over really fast through contact. It's got a nice flat area. That's really the great thing that a great swing gives you. It gives you the power, of course. Of course, you need the power. But I think the biggest advantage, because you can always turn up the dial on power, I think the biggest advantage is this keeping the club head or the barrel square as long as possible. When you switch to your non-dominant side, for most of you, it's going to put your non-dominant hand in back, and it immediately gives you a longer distance that the barrel or club head is square through contact. And so, yeah, you might not have the power right away, but as you swing more and more from that side, the power will develop. As you swing more and more from that side, everything will just kind of develop and you'll get more comfortable. And so it's really worth it to switch. It's worth it to switch for health reasons, and it's worth it to switch for performance reasons. So, man, look, if you have a 12-year-old who's playing baseball, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer, especially since 90% of the 12-year-olds playing baseball out there are going to have their non-dominant arm in front in their regular swing. Simple thing to make sure that literally you're increasing their odds of playing high-level college, professional, you're increasing their odds of any successful outcome by multiples just by having them switch side. Everyone should be swinging from both sides. I just it would be a major disservice if I didn't point out that is one of the lowest hanging fruit out there for golfers or baseball players. I mean, as this gentleman said in his email, I think the biggest benefit is it gives you the feel of a great swing. Everyone's wondering, what does a great swing feel like? It feels more like what you feel when you swing from your weak side, putting your non-dominant hand in back. It feels more like that. You need more of that in your regular swing. So why don't you start taking swings from that non-dominant side? That would be a good idea. The way that the back arm works through contact, the way that your whole body moves is going to teach you how your body needs to move to be a better swing from your regular side. There's a confluence of benefits that just make it silly to not do it, but I get why people don't do it. Because I remember the idea of switching to the other side prior to me understanding all this about lead side dominance and more lead side. Prior to that, like, I had no interest in switching to my non-dominant side. And the attitude was like, I haven't gotten my regular side down. Why would I switch to my non-dominant side? That seems like a drag. I really thought it just seemed like a drag to me. Um, lo and behold, lo and behold, um, you can actually learn the key feel by switching to your non-dominant side. So, I mean, just think about. I think we underestimate, like, literally, when you're swinging from your non-dominant side, it's like you're a different person. Swing s- from the swing's perspective, you are like a different person. We underestimate just how significant dominance in one hand plays a role in how we move and how we structure our bodies. Um, think about how much most of you are using just one hand for all of the same chores and you never switch it up. Yes, I advise that you guys switch it up, of course. But um, think about how much that has increased the strength and coordination of just one side and not the other side. It's unbelievable. I mean, just take a pen and start trying to write with your non-dominant hand. It's going to take literally 10 years to get comfortable with that, of n- not quotidian practice, but maybe weekly practice. And it's significant. I mean, you've been writing with the same hand for however long you've been writing. So it's going to basically take that long on the other side to catch up. I've been writing with my non-dominant hand off and on, probably once a week average. And now I write everything, checks and everything, with my non-dominant hand. And it still feels very foreign. And it's been about 10 years. I think that we don't, in the fitness culture, in sports culture, we don't value switching and working our non-dominant side. But it just so happens with the swing, it shows you what a great swing feels like, unbelievably, you know? So, yeah, it's significant, the difference in our coordination and strength on our dominant side. And there have been studies that have come up that have said, "Oh, it doesn't do anything good. In fact, it can be harmful if you work your non-dominant hand." I just don't buy it. I just don't buy it. Um, I think that, I mean, one of my goals is, before I die, to really even myself out. I enjoy doing that. I think it's good for you. Um, I think that it's the ultimate in learning new skills, and they say learning new skills are really, important. Um, Physical skills, like learning new physical skills. Well, nothing nothing challenges the brain and the body like working your non-dominant hand in a way that it's not used to. I just feel like it's great work. It works, obviously one hand works the other side of the brain and the other side of the brain. Obviously, the right side of my brain has been underutilized since I've been using my right hand for everything throughout my life. So I know I'm working the other side of the brain, just writing with my non-dominant hand. But again, I mean, I just can't say enough. Like, guys, this is low hanging fruit. It really is. Get your children swinging from both sides. If they want to play the sport, they have to swing from both sides. That's kind of the way I would do it. Um, you should analyze 9 or 8 channel says you should analyze Vladimir Guerrero's swing sometime. I think it appears lead arm dominant, preferably his swing from 2025 because I think his swing is better now. Yeah, I think I don't know. I guess Vlad Guerrero. I know his. It's got to be lead. You can't really produce all that well unless you have quite a bit of lead side going on in your swing. These guys, the confusion out there is these guys don't mention it because they take it for granted. I mean, a lot of them didn't. What I'm doing is I'm letting you guys know about a secret that the great hitters tend to have, but I'm not letting you know about a secret that the great hitters tend to have that they know about. Most of the great swings that I've seen in and most of the great swings, this won't be the case in the future. We'll be able to manufacture a great swing. That's what we're trying to do now, but conventional instruction isn't very good at it. But pretty soon we will be able to manufacture a great swing through the lead arm progression, and it'll happen on a large scale. But right now, like the great players that have had great swings, the top pound for pound hitters, they develop them unconsciously. They don't know that they have more lead side. Again, it goes back to it goes back to arm dominance. We take for granted exactly how much arm dominance influences. We really take for granted. I mean, for those of you watching now, whether you're folding clothes or writing with your hand, anything, cooking, start doing it now with your non-dominant hand. Pick up a pen and instead of writing with your dominant hand, write with your non-dominant hand, or try cooking with your non-dominant hand, or anything that you don't normally do with it. And you'll quickly see that it is uncomfortable. It's taking up a lot of your mental energy. It's annoying. It's like a little gnat that won't leave you alone. I mean, it's significant. And you're also extremely uncoordinated at it. Guys don't see exactly how much arm dominance plays a role. Nobody does. Nobody does. Even if you think you understand how much difference there is between your dominant hand and your non-dominant hand, you're still going to underestimate it. You're still going to underestimate it. It's huge. And so why would anyone with a great swing who developed it naturally, they're not going to, the same way that they don't feel that their dominant arm is doing most of the work throughout the day. It's subconscious, you know? In the same way, they don't understand what they're doing in their swing that makes it great. This is really what the revolution, I think, in swing instruction that's coming real soon is going to shed light upon. There is a huge difference between the dominant arm and the non-dominant arm. And in the same way that we take that for granted, you know, it's literally the same thing. It's the reason why major leaguers with great swings take their swing for granted. They wouldn't feel dominance. They wouldn't feel more lead side working in the swing. Jesse Yates says, what do you think about Terminal Sledge teaching the front arm preset? I don't know about that. Look, I don't know what that is, but I did say many years ago, watch, everyone's going to start changing their tune. They're going to start saying, talking about more lead side, but doing it in kind of their own way, kind of like what the email I read in the beginning of this said. The guy who wrote me the email said, I hope someone doesn't take this and kind of spin it in their own way. I told you that is going to happen. That is going to happen because it's truer than anything else out there. The swing actually can be whittled down to a very simple concept, which is you need more lead side pull and less back arm push. Real simple. Great way to feel that is to do the lead arm progression. Another great way to feel that is to just switch to your non-dominant side. Those two things are my answer to how to feel a great swing. Now, most people will watch me say this and they'll say, they'll either say it can't be true because, that's not what 9 out of 10 conventional instructors are saying right now, or it's not what they've ever heard before, or they're used to just, like I said, 5 different swing, thoughts going on for a 1 second movement, and they're just used to that kind of training. And so me saying it's all about lead side dominance, they just can't accept it. And even guys who come on to more lead side, they will tend to get distracted because they just see other people working on other things, or there's just so many distractions, or they think, oh, it can't just, after a couple of weeks, they think it can't just be one thing, or they just go back to old habits and they forget that, no, the main thing is more lead side. Stick with that. That is the main thing, and that should always be the main thing. And it's really that simple. And so many of you don't want it to be simple or something. You want to make it more difficult than it is, or you want to make it more conventional than what I'm presenting to you. And by conventional, again, I mean like working on 10 different drills that do 10 different things. It's really not that hard. It's not that hard, guys. My biggest message is make it about more lead side, make that your North Star, and keep it that way. Don't get distracted. There's going to be many distractions trying to tell you, lure you into something else. You're going to try to make it more difficult. You're going to try to make it more difficult because you think that it all should be a struggle in that way. But, the goal isn't to struggle. The goal is to have when it comes to mechanics, is to have a great swing. and put it on and be able to put it on autopilot. There are plenty of things to work on out there. What I'm trying to give you is in the realm of swing mechanics. I want you to streamline that work because I've already put 3 decades of study into it, and you can just stand on my shoulders and get a nice competitive advantage by just, again, make your focus about more lead side and really forget the rest. And that second part is actually something that's a really big deal. Forget the rest. Most people just can't do that. For whatever reason, they just can't seem to accept that it actually can be very simplified. Look, we can get really into the weeds in mechanics and why more lead side works. I can get into the weeds with the best of them as far as that's concerned. We can talk about positions. We can do all that. You just don't need to know all that. And I even encourage you guys to not worry about positions. Stick with the lead arm progression. Stick with swinging from your non-dominant side. Try to feel what more lead side pull in your swing feels like. Try to understand the cadence and rhythm that you want to have when you utilize more lead side. And forget the rest. I think a really important thing is when you add the back arm. Well, first of all, when swinging with just the lead arm, the point is to figure out how your body wants to square the barrel or club face utilizing just the lead arm. That's it. What does my body want to move like? Then we want to kind of, as best as we can, simulate that same movement, but add the back arm. But here's where people mess up, even if they're swinging from their weak side, so to speak, with their non-dominant arm in back. Even with your non-dominant arm in back, you need to focus on putting it back on the club in the lead arm progression and making sure that it doesn't take over again. That's the focus. It's a never-ending quest to increase more lead, to have more lead side, and make the back arm just support that. And people say, like, why would it be that way? Well, look at the basketball jump shot. One hand is designated to support. Is it useless? No. It's not useless. It's just it's not dictating the structure of the movement like the dominant hand in the movement is. In the same way that the back arm needs to work in that same way, supporting the move in the swing. So I didn't hear about terminal sledge. Let me see. I don't even know what it is. I mean, by the way, guys, check out my website where I sell the lead arm training bat. Terminal sledge is a person? Wait, I'm sorry. Terminal sledge. I'm so sorry. I thought it was like a company. So Terminal Sledge did what? Teaching the front arm preset. Let me see. Terminal Sledge. You know, there was a guy in the 80s named, and I think he played for the Expos too. I think his name was Razor Shines. It reminds me of Razor Shines, Terminal Sledge. That's crazy. I have heard that before, come to think of it, though. I've heard his name before. I'm just, let's see. I'm not seeing anything for Termel Sledge teaching the front arm preset. I don't even know what that is, the preset. But I mean, I appreciate everyone reaching out and saying, this guy's saying something like you are. Nobody's saying what I'm saying unless they copied it. But even if they copied it, they don't understand how exactly what I'm saying. And so they won't really know how to present it. But nobody's really saying the same thing that I'm saying. I mean, people touch on kind of what I'm saying, but it's also mixed in with like 100 different other tips that they give. One of the key things I'm saying, like I said just 10 minutes ago, is it's important that you forget everything else. That is actually important to look at what I'm saying and then go and continue to do, all the other things that conventional instruction or Richard Skank wants you to do. That is really going to make all the stuff I teach almost obsolete, because what I'm saying is make this your North Star and make nothing else important. And it's hard for people to accept that, especially the people who would be inclined to watch this particular channel, because they're mechanically oriented when it comes to the swing. They like almost like a hobby. They're hobbyists with the swing. That's what I am. So I can relate to that. I'm not really a fan of. I'm not saying this is the case with you guys, but I'm not really a fan of the sport of baseball so much as I am the swing. And this has taken time to kind of unfold like that, but it's just happened to be that way. And I think a lot of you guys are similar in that way, not to the extreme that I am, but you tend to, you like the game of swing mechanics. It interests you. But the only thing I would ask you to do is not be sold that it has to be such a struggle and such a kind of confusing, ambiguous topic where you're roaming around in the dark almost. And many of you may not even realize that you are, but you've come to kind of accept that working on your swing is something mysterious and difficult, and you're going to try this guy and that guy and this and 10 different things today and 20 different things tomorrow. And so it's hard for you to just hear what I'm saying, which is you can put all your chips, push them all over onto more lead side. And in fact, that's really what's going to give you the best results, and forget the rest. Let me share my screen here. So check out my book, More Lead Side, at theswingmechanic.com, formerly called Swing Like Griffey. Wanted to show a few images of players. One of the things that you'll see with More Lead Side is you'll tend to see certain positions occur. It's a different program that's being run, and we can see signs of the program that's being run in the positions that the hitters tend to get into. And one of the positions that you'll see more often from guys who have more lead side working in their swing is a well-connected position at contact. This is one of the advantages that more lead side gives to you. By being more connected at contact, you're going to deliver more mass into the hit. But more importantly, maybe, I don't even like to say more importantly, they're all important attributes. But I do like just a hair more than everything else, I think is slightly more important to be able to have the bat stay square longer from a bird's eye view, bat or club face, longer through from a bird's eye view through contact. Stay square longer through contact. The ability to adjust to make this happen, or just to be able to have the bat be more square as it goes through contact. That is the, if I had to rank the benefits of being more lead side, that is the one that I would put as number one. And that's the funny thing, is people think I'm all about power. That's a consistency thing. That's a consistency thing. I'm talking about having the longest distance you can that the bat is square through contact. That has to do with consistency. But I just feel that that is, you can always turn up the dial and swing like Jose Canseco. Once you develop a good swing that's very square through contact, you can always turn up the dial. But anyways, a connected position at contact gives it's indicative of someone who can have the bat very square. Because if this is Willie Stargell's baseline position, and I think Willie Stargell's somewhere in the teens, if not, yeah, I think he's somewhere in the teens on the pound for pound list. You can see the whole pound for pound list when you order my book, More Lead Side, at theswingmechanic.com. But if your baseline position at contact is like what you see from Stargell here, then you can always extend the back arm and halt your body rotation and kind of reach pitches out in front. That's adjustment. That's what I'm saying when I say there are tremendous benefits to having a very connected baseline position at contact. And a more lead side swing will give you that. It'll basically optimize connection at contact. If you want to have your lead arm bent, I mean, these are all adjustment things. The main thing is I want you to learn to square the barrel up and swing hard and hit the ball hard, utilizing just your lead arm. And you're utilizing just your lead arm and making your body move in such a way. Yeah, I'm not saying you utilize just your lead arm and not your body. I'm saying you swing as hard as you can, utilizing your body to swing the lead arm and bat as hard, to hit the ball as hard as possible. And you'll learn how to, it'll give you the most connection at contact. But when we see the greatest hitters, guys, the signs have always been there. The connection at contact. If we just stopped them at contact and compared them to other players, we'd see much more connection. What Griffey had was tremendous flexibility in that lead arm, particularly. I mean, to achieve a position like this, you have to be extremely fluid in your action. That's mainly what's going on. Yes, he's got some flexibility, but it's the fluidity of his action that gave him that flexibility. Honestly, another great thing you can do is have your child, or you, if you're the playing, which I hope you are, even if you are a father of a player, you should be dabbling in the swing as well. For all of you guys, watch Ken Griffey Jr.'s swing. You know, it'll give you an idea of what really utilizing more lead side can do for you. Uh, Not just can do for you, but looks like. That's He was basically the paragon of more lead side. I mean, there maybe never will be somebody who had as much lead side as him, but actually I think there will be. But there never was before him someone who utilized as much lead side, except for maybe Ruth. But a connected position at contact is one of the things that is a sign of utilizing more lead side. Now, Trout's a little more stiff in his swing, right? He's a little more not as it almost looked like Griffey wasn't swinging hard. That's a sign of Will Clark had that too. That's a sign of very fluid and loose in the swing. That's what I think is ideal. But Trout is loose in his own way, and he's more lead side, absolutely. And we know this again because of the very connected position at contact. Now, he's not in the same position that you saw Griffey in, but still utilizing more lead side. And that's the key. You see, it's not about, oh, should we achieve this position or that position? It's about how much lead side pull is dictating the movement as opposed to back arm push. That's it. If you want to swing more like Mike Trout or more like Ken Griffey Jr., you know, it doesn't really matter. Yes, I think Griffey did it best, but 90% of what matters is that you're just more lead side and you figure out how you want to do that. Here's Madison Bumgarner, who had a great swing. I mean, could be the best swing I've ever seen from a pitcher. No, Zach Greinke had a great swing. I think they're probably tied. But look at this positioning. Really ideal. Back arm is very loose and just kind of supporting the move. And the lead side is obviously in control. This is a position that is only achieved by guys who are very lead side pull oriented. Mookie Betts is another one. He looks his own way. I think of Mike Schmidt when I think of Betts. Very connected at contact, but will often get that lead arm away from his body. But you can see the connection is very much there. And then Acuna, very connected too. We saw his swing from his non-dominant, or his left side. I posted that, I think, on Instagram recently. And probably a touch better than his righty swing. And he could definitely bat lefty, I think. I think if he just kind of worked on his pitch recognition from that side, he could have that really well. Now, when you compare it to guys who had less power, you can see a lot less connection. Of course, this is just one position that we see from Jeter. But this is kind of what he tended to look like. And he didn't have as much power. Gwynn, again, very disconnected. What did he lack? He lacked power. And then George Brett, again, very disconnected. Probably more connected than either Jeter or Gwynn. And he did have more homers. But I still think that Jeter and Gwynn and Brett were very lead side pull, but I think they worked on stuff that was more back arm push. So you had this kind of hybrid of a swing, and they were able to get their consistency. And, it worked well for them, obviously. I don't think you can hit well in the major leagues without a good bit of lead side pull. So, these guys had it, but they just had also a little bit of back arm push going on. I would have loved to work with those three and just get more lead side pull going on, less back arm push, and just see with their pitch recognition skills and all their other skills in hitting, It would have been cool to see these guys have not only the consistency but the power as well. And I think they could have done it. I don't think that if you're touching the ball as much as Gwynn and Brett and Jeter did, I really don't think that utilizing more lead side pull is going to detract from that. And even if it does, it's going to be well worth the power increase, but I'm not conceding that it does. So Albert Bell is my favorite, Jesse Yates says. Yeah, he's one of my favorites too. I think he might have the best, he's up there. I did a top 10 right-handed swings recently, and I don't even think I put Bell in it. I just did it. I honestly did it pretty quickly. I just kind of went through. I thought, what are some of my favorite righty swings? I forgot about Bell, I think. If I remember correctly, it was a Instagram post. Bell might have the best right-handed swing of all time. It's actually very Griffey-like in many ways. But yeah, just a great swing. So I understand why Bell is your favorite, one of your favorites, or is your favorite. Jesse Yates. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope this has been informational, educational, entertaining. Again, check out, if you don't have a small bat to do lead arm swings, I know the season's starting soon. You still have time. Really, you should be doing it all the time. And you can get my lead arm training bat at theswingmechanic.com. You can also get my More Lead Side book. And for the golfers out there, I Figured Out the Golf Swing is a book I wrote. You can get that at the Swing Mechanic too. You can get the audio, you can get the physical, and you can get the ebook. So you can be reading it tonight and get everything else in the mail, or get the physical book in the mail later. All the options are there on my site. Also have the back arm trainer, which is something to check out. Check that out, theswingmechanic.com. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.